Chris Evans was an impeccable choice as Captain America and gave a near faultless performance in his portrayal of the character. Granted, he had a lot to work with, but still. The film does an amazing job in illustrating Steve Rogers' sense of patriotism and duty while still portraying him as a decent, nice, level-headed human being. It's a tightrope to walk for Evans because he has to juggle these qualities whilst ensuring he doesn't fall into the trap of turning the character into too wishy-washy a good guy, walking senior citizens across roads, giving inspirational speeches, and all that. One of the main techniques they use to combat this is to frequently hint at what he will become whilst mixing up his strengths with his shortcomings. A good example of this is in one of the opening scenes where Steve is watching a movie and challenges an unruly, loudmouth bully who's dismissing news on the war. Steve promptly gets beaten up for his trouble, but not before we get a good look at him holding up a trash can lid to shield him from the many blows coming his way. We all get the symbolism. The emphasis on good character above strength is an aspect that is pursued fairly relentlessly throughout the early stages of this film, with mixed effect. Steve's inability to physically compete with his sniggering comrades is highlighted again and again. His all-round goofiness and extreme awkwardness around women, while certainly humorous at times, especially on his awkward outing with Bucky when he offers his date some peanuts at the expo, does get into the territory of near corny secondary to blatant overkill. These are counteracted by scenes demonstrating his being a gentleman to Peggy, diving on the potentially live grenade, and being the only soldier to figure out how to get the flag off the pole. All of these moments serve to emphasize Dr. Erskine's thinking that the super soldier serum enhances the existing qualities already within people, and that the important thing is to be a good person. It's not exactly a brilliant revelation, but I guess that's what the essence of the character is really about. This does make me wonder about one particular change to the comic continuity. In the comics, Steve Rogers is one of dozens of men that receive the serum, but he's the only one that survives its effects. It seems as though this approach would really emphasize the image of Rogers being special due to the positive aspects of his character. Ultimately, though, this is contradicted by the movie itself when Captain America tells the Red Skull, "I'm not special, I'm just a kid from Brooklyn." It's good, but the message does seem rather inconsistent. It's also quite effective to see the producers dress up the scene of Steve Rogers' transformation. Sticking to the comics had the potential to make it quite underwhelming, though I guess the continuity has fluctuated over the years to include ultraviolet rays and so forth. One has to give credit to the producers for all aspects of Chris Evans' transformation. The use of digital plastic surgery to portray him as a runt, resulting in the net outcome of Steve Rogers chasing down the runaway car, using the cab door as a shield, another sign of things to come, and smashing through the submarine hatch. It was all very, very cool. The progression of Captain America from miracle scientific success to ringmaster of the propaganda machine proved to be both a logical and entertaining move, as well as an essential component to the story. Firstly, by promoting Steve Rogers as Captain America, parading him around the country to the soldiers, etc., the movie goes down the Ultimates version of the character by becoming a sort of public soldier and doing away with the need for a secret identity. Like Stark, Thor, and Banner in the future, Steve Rogers as Captain America is public knowledge, and the double life protecting the secret identity thing is left for the Batmans, Supermans, and Spider-Man of the silver screen, whilst the Avengers can just concentrate on business. It also gives the audience an opportunity to become better acquainted with Captain America's costume. Prior to our first look at the real thing, we also get to see the rather absurd, ridiculously unpractical symbolic tool. The opportunity must be taken to really praise the production staff here for a couple of really clever nuances. First off, in addition to a respectful tribute to the original costume, we get to see a nice bow to the cover of the original comic from the 1940s, with light being made of Captain America's infamous uppercut to Adolf Hitler's jaw. "I've knocked out old Adolf Hitler over 200 times. Absolutely classic. Secondly, the comic book movie actually references its own comic book. Hilarious and bold. I hope the writers of the forever being developed Deadpool movie are paying attention. And finally, we get a little bit of homage to Captain America's original shield and how he ended up with the wings on his head. Not corny or lame at all. I liked it. The other questionable aspects of the character then simply fell into place. He's not an indestructible super soldier that kills 100 Nazis at a time, he's just another soldier, a good one, and he's a fighter. The circular shield is not a game changer, it's just one tool amongst the dozens used throughout the field, except that it's a one of a kind, and it's a symbol. Both of these aspects, whilst evident, are subtle and not forced down the throats of the viewer. They both clearly worked. Following up on the excellent casting was the decision to place Stanley Tucci, if that's how it's pronounced, in the role of Dr. Abraham Erskine. Tucci portrays Erskine as clever, sensitive, and inherently good-natured, with a subtle flair for storytelling and humour. Historically, mentor characters that meet their demise only too soon before the lead protagonist is ready, as well as being a bit cliché, run the risk of being too over the top and corny. Stanley does really well to get his character's message across without exaggerating or blatantly selling it, while still garnering respect and sympathy for Erskine. His dying moment gesture of tapping Steve on the chest is both very touching and a bit of a tearjerker. My only real criticism of this entire sequence is that Erskine's character is reminiscent both of the character and role of Yinsen, who we saw back in the first Iron Man, the sort of unsung hero support which went a long way towards shaping the character of the main protagonist before dying tragically. Of course, you only have to do a little bit of reading to realise that in their respective comic books, this is how these characters and events more or less took place. Hence it's hard to be too critical, but at the same time, it does give off a derivative dying mentor sense. Tommy Lee Jones, Dominic Cooper and Hayley Atwell all provide solid performances and make up an excellent supporting cast for Captain America in their portrayals of General Phillips, Howard Stark and Peggy Carter respectively. Whilst all are prominent and act as necessary plot devices at particular points, all three actors should be commended not only for their own individual charisma, but also for the chemistry they're able to build with Chris Evans. Hayley in particular has the difficulty of not only portraying herself as the main interest of Captain America, but also as a capable female soldier looking to prove herself in a male-dominated profession and film for that matter. This has the potential for over-the-top and corny written all over it, and whilst the sequences are not completely free of cheese, they're funny, sweet, touching, and at Steve's assumed demise, you do believe what you're seeing. And whilst we're on the topic of what you see, how great is it for Cap fans to actually get to see some footage of the Howling Commandos? It's these types of respectful gestures that demonstrate to fans that yes, the studios were paying attention. To see Dum Dum Dugan glare at a Hydra soldier and bite back with, "You know, Fritz, one of these days I'm gonna have a stick of my own," you'd swear you're looking at a documentary of a real person rather than a movie. That's it for part 2. As usual, feel free to add any questions, comments or found corrections, and join us for the third instalment, a close look at Bucky Barnes. This is Winter Soldier here signing off, and thanks for listening.